Today, I thought our guys came out and played extremely hard, again, 2 times in a row. I thought we handled adversity. I think that's part of the game, and you've got to learn how to handle that, and the more times you handle it, the better you get going, I think, with that. You know, the more you're able to get it done better, I guess. I'm stumbling a little bit there. But I thought our guys played extremely well, ran the ball effectively, almost 300 yards rushing. You can see that with Lewerke, we've got a guy that can take it the distance a little bit and make some plays with his feet. I thought all 3 running backs played well. LJ had the big run. The other guys were very durable in there, but LJ had the big run on 4th and 1. Again, big plays from Darryl Stewart. We seemed to answer every time something went down. We seemed to answer. Defense played outstanding. 1 out of 15 on 3rd down. I think we did have maybe 6 4th down opportunities for them. So I think they were 3 out of 6 on 4th down. But anytime you go, you know, that's 21 times and 4 out of 21, I guess, is pretty good. But stop the run, which is what we had to do when we came into the football game. And they're a good football team, and they're well coached. Obviously gave up a couple big plays, but, you know, if those things are going to happen, I guess, hopefully not too often. But credit Darius Phillips. He was an outstanding player out there with a big pick. You know, break on the ball and another one. Pulled off the fumble and got it, and then with the kickoff return. But hey, we're 2-0. Get ready for Notre Dame. We're off a week, so I'll take some questions.
Coach, your defense, as you mentioned, incredible against a 3-headed rushing attack that was taking USC to the limit just a week ago. Interesting stat, though. Your defense has given up only 3 points. Your offense and special teams have given up 21 points. How do you stress ball security during this off week? Yeah. And then how do you kind of mirror those stats one against the other and explain them?
Well, first of all, I think guys are trying to make a play. You know, and Hunter Rison's trying to make a play, and he gets hit, and he's trying to bull his way. He's got both hands over the ball, and he's trying to bull forward, and the ball gets ripped out. And he's a freshman, and he's going to learn. And they did a good job trying to strip it out of there. But and then on the kickoff return, I got to wait and see with that. But he didn't break stride. It was just to the house. So I would assume somebody got blocked in there. You got to kick to people. You can't just, we could have squibbed it there. That was my decision to kick it deep. So we've got to be better in that regard. But ball security is a concern. We keep working on it. Defensively, we keep working on things. Outstanding job by Harlan Barnett and our entire defensive staff. Harlan calls the game. So our entire defensive staff in terms of just working together, and our guys play a lot. We play a lot of guys, and a lot of guys were involved in this. Big plays by Josiah Scott, and I thought we played the ball in the deep part of the field very, very well. So I don't know if I'm answering the question, but yeah, those are frustrating things when you're sitting over on the sideline when the game's in, it's 28-7. And, we got the ball at the 50, but that's why you play the game, And again, you have to credit them. They're a good football team, as evidenced by last week as well. So, it was great that we were able to win it.
I know the Lewerke play was a designed run, but you don't expect to get 61 out of that. And you surprised he had that kind of speed?
His dad keeps telling me he's a lot faster than you think. So, and he is, and he's got the ability to run, and he'll take it, So I think it's an additional weapon, and he created on the big, I think it was a big 3rd down play to get it maybe close to the 4th down play, maybe. Scrambling a little bit and hitting Darryl Stewart. So he can create, he can run with the football. It gives us an extra weapon, and I thought all 3 tailbacks played well.
Mark, you mentioned you felt like your team answered whenever something had gone poorly against you, and I know in the offseason a lot of your players talked about how that was one of the frustrations of last year, that didn't happen. I guess how gratifying has it been to see how they've dealt with adversity so far these couple of games?
Well, we're 2 games in, but very gratifying because that's what we talk about. Life's going to throw you a bunch of problems, just like it does on a football field, and you've got to be able to regather yourself and play through it, and I think that takes leadership from the defensive coaches, but really from the players on the field. And so we're developing into a better unit, and we're young. And if you really look at who's playing defensively, I think we're playing probably close to 20 players on the defensive side of the ball, maybe 22. And they're playing a lot. So we're fresh. We've got a lot of guys, and a lot of guys pull for each other, and it just generates even more excitement because when you know you're going to play, it's a little bit different. I mean, there's a little bit more. I don't know, I want to say money on the table or whatever it is, but they're a little bit more excited for each other maybe. Glad you're having problems. See, this is not a perfect world, is it? How do you respond to that? There you go.
Obviously with the early bye, thanks man, you're the best.
Yeah.
Anyway, with the early bye, how important was it for this team to get off to a quick start, have that confidence kind of going into the week off, and when you got Notre Dame coming up next?
Big, as you guys know. I mean, we've won a lot of football games here. Last year we had some stuff, but so it's important to get off to a great start, just like it is for everybody. And there's a lot of football teams that, out there that are competing on tough games every single week. And I keep saying that everybody's got a plan when they come in here, and and everybody's got some players. So you got to get ready to play. But I thought it was, we're just taking it one step at a time. The first thing that we needed to do was win number one, then win number two. We got one more out-of-conference game, and that'll complete what I call phase two. And then we get in the Big Ten Conference. So we'll get ready for Notre Dame. We got an extra week. Be an exciting game, a night game. We'll talk about that at another time. But again, I thought our guys answered the bell.
Mark, you mentioned and alluded to the defense being very young. Can you talk about what they did against the run today, and then also in generating more pressure to get more sacks for you guys?
Yeah, I think we had 4 sacks maybe, or 5. But big stops on 4th down. But I think what we did, we played a zone team. They did a nice job on a couple things, but for the most part, we were very firm and played square up there and handled our gaps. Probably did not get cut very often on the interior line because they'll throw on you and try and cut you. And I think we tackled well. Once we adjusted to their speed a little bit, because you always have a little bit of an adjustment. So you take away the first series, we really played well. But credit Western. They got good players, good backs. But we're going to see other backs too that are very good. So this is a process for us.
Coach, key point in the game, they decline a personal foul penalty, would have made it 3rd and 16. Instead, you've got 4th and 1. Was that a surprise to you, first of all? Did you take that time out because of that reason? And then the decision to go for it, 1, was that ever in doubt? And then 2, what led to the play call that you made?
I was never in doubt when they declined it. I said, we're going for it on 4th and 1. I felt like, hey, you got to be able to get a yard sometimes. You got to be able to get the inches. And that's what we're trying to do all the time. So, I felt, hey, they're going to go in that direction, we're going to go in the other. So as far as the timeout, we just got to make sure we got the right play on, which we evidently got the right play on eventually. That's not for me to say. I just play the game.
Mark, 159 all-purpose yards from Darrell Stewart. Has he kind of lived up to your expectations so far? Has he surpassed them? And are there any other ways that you can kind of utilize him more?
Well, we got him back there on kickoff and on punt, and he's got to hit those because he's got the ability, but he's got to get vertical on those things. But I do think that he's making plays on the offensive side of the ball, catching the football, running with the ball. He's an exciting player. We knew he would be that when we recruited him out of Houston. I said that last week. So he's a good player, and he's just getting started, really. I mean, what is he, redshirt sophomore? Much like the most of our team, it seems like. But we're excited to play, and we're excited for each other. We get in that locker room after the game and sing that fight song. It's exciting. There's no way just singing it. It's real.
Mark, Phillips had 53 more yards and returns than Western Michigan had on offense as a lifelong defensive backs coach. What makes him so special, and how important is it for your team to go 8 quarters now without allowing a touchdown defensively?
Well, very important. That's what you want to do defensively, so I think you build confidence. Like I said, you start to get more and more confidence. A little bit of pride comes into that. But, we just got to keep doing what we do. As far as Darius, I've already talked about him. I think he's an outstanding player, and he creased us on the kickoff return, and he pulled he did what he did. But I'm just glad the rest of the guys didn't get what they usually got. You've had a good football team. I keep saying that. So, and I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but the fact they put number 3 on the back of their helmet to honor Mike Sadler was a great gesture. And Mike was a Western Michigan guy, from Grand Rapids, playing here, and I thought that that was a class move by them. I want to thank them personally.
You've had Josiah on campus since January, so obviously you've had a chance to see him develop. How much of confidence have you seen him gain in the last couple of weeks? 2 starts. I mean, first pick today. I think Pro Football Focus graded him as the highest true freshman in the country last week.
You know, I've said that before, you know, last week. He's an extremely mature person. He's very diligent about the way he goes about his business. He's quick, he's athletic, he can tackle, he's got great ball skills. So, you know, that's why we recruit him. We need to continue to bring guys like that in here.
Mark, you've been talking about way over here, about your defense and what you like about it. And it's only 2 games in, but do you see some of the trademarks coming back and coming back around with your defense?
Yeah, we're getting pressure. You know, we're playing good coverage. It's a little soon to, I think, start crowning our defense, but we're playing well thus far. And anytime you give up around 200 yards of offense in 2 games each, you know, 200 in each game, I think you're playing very well. I think it's going to be tough to win if you can't run it, and I think it's tough to win if you can't throw it. So, you know, things start to go the other direction.
Mark, you talked about in the offseason how your team really came together. Going into the bye week, some of your players are volunteering to go down to help out in Hurricane Harvey. Whose idea was that, and what was your reaction when they came to you?
You know, that was our Athletes in Action, individual Phil Gillespie's idea, and I said, yeah, if the guys want to volunteer, we're going to give them off the weekend, so they have an opportunity to do that. But it's a volunteer basis, and you know, just trying to fly under the radar and just do something good for people. So just got to go through all the things, but it wasn't something that we really were going to sit out there and announce. But I think it's just something good to do for people. So our guys want to do it. We have 2 players from Houston, Daryl Stewart and Tyler Higbee, and then we also have a coach. Coach Samuel has his family is down there. So you know, just trying to do something good for people.
2 more, one in the middle, and Honda.
Coach, you obviously have to go back over the bye week and check on the tackling, but it seemed as though there were a few instances where a couple of big chunk plays, tackles for loss, might have been made. How do you assess the defense's ability at that respect going forward?
To
just tackling ability. I mean, there were a couple of missed tackles potentially.
You're saying we're tackling well or not? I'm trying to figure it out.
Tackling in an average way, maybe.
Okay. We work really hard at tackling. We work on it. We bring people in to talk about it. You know, we talk to other people. You know, tackling is something that in space, balls getting out in space, more than ever in college football. And I think that's what you see. You see a lot of tackles. You see some missed tackles. You know, leverage is very important. So we try and play very well with that respect in terms of who's got leverage, who doesn't. And we just keep working it. But, you know, they got players too. You know, 32 is a quick guy. Reminds me of Nick Hill. It's tough to tackle, low to the ground. So, but, you know, from last week, from what I understand, we had 9 missed tackles. You want to check that. Tackle 60%, which is good when you're tackling in a positive situation, which means they're at 45 degree or better. Got me? If you're in a negative situation, it becomes a different type of tackle. We'll talk about that later.
Mark, staying on tackling, I apologize for not remembering the name of the company, but you brought some folks in to talk about rugby tackling this summer. Could you talk about the impact you've seen from that in these first 2 games?
Yeah, you know, we brought Atavis in here, which I think is cutting edge in that respect. Talks about safety. It also talks about, you know, that's their job. Their job is to say, okay, what can make you a better tackling team? Okay, so we've really worked very, very hard on that. We've also gone and looked at other things relative to our experiences and other people, and because we just want to do the very best we can and be on the cutting edge of everything that we do. So that's a way to improve. You know, do you always see the result of that? No. Okay, but do our guys have a good idea what they're supposed to be doing? I think they do. And, you know, we get a very detailed report every week as to who did what tackling. You know, what type of tackling was. And there's basically, you know, 3 different phases. You know, you got to evaluate as you're running to the ball. You got in that contact phase. You got to be able to zero in, and you got to have strike timing. So there's a lot that, you know, to talk about that in 1 minute, but there's a lot that has gone into it, and you know, we've really researched that and tried to develop ourselves and be, you know, you can pride yourself. I tell our guys this: when you can't tackle anymore, your football career is done. It's done. If you can't tackle in high school, you can't play in college. You can't tackle in college, you will not play in the NFL. You need to be able to tackle if you're a defensive player. It's that simple. Guys good? Go Green. Thanks for everything. We had a great game. See you in a couple weeks.